Hello, everyone. It's Digital Extra right here on onesoccer.ca. I'm Andy Petrillo. Joining me to talk about the Canadian men's national team is Kristian Jack, our One Soccer analyst, because as we know, we have a big qualifying window coming up for the Canadians. And Kristian, you just recently wrote an article about how this men's national team really can inspire a nation. Why do you feel that is?
Yeah, hi, Andy. Great to see you again. It's 2022, but it still feels like 2020 for many people, right? It's a difficult world out there right now. It's a difficult time for Canadians and a lot of people who love the sport, and people at youth level can't play the game. And, I just feel like this is coming around at a really perfect time for a lot of people. For many people, sports is that distraction away from difficulties in their home life, or to give them, those kind of emotions and togetherness. And we have to say that this unique January international window is something that is really special. It doesn't happen. It never happens. We're never going to, never probably going to have it again in terms of the reasons why it's here. So I think we should embrace that. And I think there's just something that I wrote about in terms of there's something quite fitting that a Canada team that's quite short-handed. Obviously, we're going to get to the players who aren't there in a second, but also that's the way we're all feeling right now in Canada. We're all battling something. Everyone's going through certain things. Nobody's at that perfect level and getting 100% out of 100 every single day. So for me, it comes at a good time. It's a good time for fans to get behind this team. And obviously the Olympics are coming. But the fact that Canadian fans can go out and see a Canadian team on Canadian soil in January play a special game during a very big window is a unique experience that we should all get around during these tough times.
Yeah, I always say, sports, they're not going to fix everything. They may not even heal things, but they can offer a wonderful distraction as well. And what the Canadian men have been doing recently in this final round of World Cup qualifying has definitely been inspiring. KJ, bang on. But here's the thing. They still have some work to do. And in their 3 games, it's Honduras, United States, El Salvador. What would you say is the biggest challenge facing John Herdman?
Well, I think the biggest challenges are pretty common for international management. And I think it's those process losses, the ones that you can't control, right? It isn't that long ago since we were all in the snow in Edmonton, and we're still in that same winter, even though it feels like a long time ago. And I'm sure it feels a long time ago for John and his players as well. Now, you can't really talk about momentum in international football for that reason, because we could talk about them coming off 2 victories, but they're not playing immediately after that. And process losses are those things like, hotel fatigue or flights, or what's going on in personal life, or health, form at professional clubs. Are they playing? MLS clubs are not playing right now. What kind of environment are you able to bring to them to get the competitive juices going physically and mentally in those players? So there's a lot of those things and a lot of those hurdles that he's going to have to get this team over. I believe that they obviously will be able to do that. The attitude collectively is second to none with this Canadian team, but they are concerns a little bit from the outside. And I think internally something they're going to be working on as challenges to overcome that they certainly didn't have during the November games.
One of these 3 games is actually at home. That's the January 30th game against the United States. That's the rivalry that keeps on giving. They're the ones who are also, right behind the Canadians, at least heading into this window in the standings as well. Should they prioritize that game, KJ?
Not for me, Andy. I see every game as a valuable game, exactly the same. The reason for that is Honduras are very wounded. We can all talk about the nightmares of 8-1 and the difficulty of going down to San Pedro Sula and how hard it is to play in Honduras, and we all understand that. But Honduras have had a disastrous World Cup qualifying campaign. They lost a point in the last minute in the last game. They gave up a lead and conceded goals to Panama. Panama and Jamaica and the US have all been down there and beat them. It isn't that place anymore that people should fear. And certainly the way Canada are playing, I think they should go down there and give it their best effort. Now, of course, for all the reasons and circumstances I said in the last answer, there'll be some difficulties within that challenge. But there's no prioritizing for me. There's no waiting to see whether they can get the best players out there to play in Hamilton against the US, against a wounded US team who want to play Canada, by the way, based on the way they played the last game at a high level. So I think it's go to Honduras, go out there and try and win the game and bring back 3 points, regardless of what happens at Tim Hortons Field.
What does this team look like, though, against Honduras? We already know there's going to be no Alfonso Davies. Now at the 11th hour, hearing about Stefan Eustáquio as well. With Eustáquio's absence, how does that change the complexion in that midfield?
Well, unquestionably, it's a blow, isn't it? There's no doubt about it. You and I have done all the games here on One Soccer. We've sung the praises of Eustáquio in every broadcast. I think he's been Canada's best player in the World Cup qualifying process. Now, we know Davies is their best player and their most expensive and valuable player, but during the consistency of these World Cup programs, he has been the brains. He has been the go-to guy in midfield. And when he played with Atiba Hutchinson in Edmonton, I thought they found something they hadn't found before, and I was excited to see them play together. Now, Hutchinson and Mark Anthony Kaye haven't actually played a minute together in this World Cup qualifying process. So it'll be interesting to see whether they can blend together. There are other options. Remember when they played the United States in the Gold Cup, because of suspensions and concerns, Sam Piette and Liam Fraser played in that game and played very well. Fraser is a dictating midfield ball player, a little bit like Eustáquio, was exceptional that day. So there are options. Osorio can play more of a 6 and drop deeper, but it is a blow, and it'll be interesting to see what kind of blend in midfield they go to. But, you know, John Herdman's made big decisions before and got them right. You know, Adakubi coming in and playing left back and not playing David in one game, not playing Laren in the other in Edmonton. So I think what we've learned throughout this process is that it's a collective effort. Squads win these kind of, you know, campaigns rather than individuals, and hopefully Herdman can find the right balance in midfield for that game in Honduras. That
last window in Edmonton was so exhilarating. Of course, with the Canadians getting the full 6 points, putting themselves first in the standings. Look forward to this next window. KJ, I will see you live and in person, my friend. Of course, January 27th, taking on Honduras. That's followed by the home game at Hamilton, January 30th against the United States. And then it wraps up February 2nd against El Salvador. All 3 games right here on One Soccer. That's digital extra right here on onesoccer.ca.